So Cody is in trouble for multiple reasons, and the entire situation is rotten to the core. Allegations around Tana Mojo have been circling for years, and the desperation from Cody to silence the crowd is actually deafening at this point. It seems to be a massive open secret that a lot of creators are failing to address. Quite rightly, I find this all disgusting. So hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Jake Baz, and today we're going to be covering Cody because it seems that he's hiding from his past. We've got a lot to get through, but with the main story being around Tana Mojo and Cody having an alleged relationship in the romantic sense when Tana Mojo was 17, and this silence has been getting louder and louder over the previous months. Cody, as I'm sure you know, is a massive commentary channel on YouTube who manages to cover stuff on morality and also just taking the piss out of everything. He has two channels on YouTube, one with 6 million subs and one with 2.5 million subs, and they both cover very similar content. He's a massive force in the commentary community. He is a very, very large creator, and I kind of feel like this is why it's been swept under the rug a little bit, but all the drama surrounding him has that chance to blow it all out the water. Firstly, we're going to cover the main problem in this story, which is allegations from Tana Mojo in the form of persistent allegations, as she said this multiple times, about what happened at a certain California house party. Nothing bad's ever happened there before, Team 10, but the crux of the story and all the fallout from it is because Tana Mojo at the time was 17 and Cody was 25. Before I get into this, please do note that everything that I say in this video is allegations at the end of the day. None of it is 100% proven, but I will just note it is the way that Cody has handled multiple of these situations which makes everything very muddy. And I will just say, if you want to see more videos like this, please do hit the like button and subscribe. I would love to see you back, and it helps out the channel a lot. So Tana made these comments about these following a TikTok clip that went viral on her podcast that she currently has with a couple of her friends.
It was a crime.
Yeah.
And I've tried to talk about this a million times, and I feel like I never have the right words. But it's everywhere all over the internet, and I know people want me to talk about it, and I'm going to do my best right now, you know? I mean, I hooked up with Cody when I was 17 and he was 25. Yeah. It happened.
The thing is with this, that it is something that has been alluded to by Tana multiple times in the past, and it's kind of been brushed over because she's kind of not really associated herself with it, if that makes sense. She's poked and poked and poked, but she's never actually come out and said, like, flatline, this has happened, and it really does stink. She made this 3 weeks ago, and since then there has been a lot of people trying to get to Cody to try and see what's gone on, and the response from him has been lackluster because it's been nothing, but it also seems to be silencing things, which we will get onto. And it is really worth noting in this situation that for Tana Mojo to come out and say something like this, it is a very serious allegation, because if you don't know about the US laws, in California, you have to be 18 to consent, full stop. In the UK, it's 16, and I think that's really weird, but in America it is 18. So for Tana to come out and say this, she's not just saying that this is like some tea that happened. This is literally a statutory case. When you bear in mind as well that Cody is 25 at the time of this, it really is odd. For Tana to come out with something so serious and so detrimental on another creator, that would really suggest that it is true in a sense. Well, it is all allegations, as we say, but it really does give credence to the fact that it potentially is true, because if it isn't true, she is getting cancelled. She's essentially putting her platform on the line by stating this as a fact, and that is something that really is hard for Cody to have to deal with. In the podcast, Tana stated that this all had to come out because of a TikTok that went viral here.
Who's the smallest dick you ever had?
Oh my god, do no one look at me, Cody
That is a little bit of a violation, innit? Not only has he got this on him, he's also got a little pecker, bless him. Couldn't be me.
Delete the videos. I can say that. I was literally 17. I can say that. What? Sorry. Delete the videos. Oh my god, I wasn't here.
This quite obviously went viral, went very, very weird, and then it needed to be addressed, which is why she has done it in this podcast. Cody does also have some sort of alter ego with his little friend that he does little videos with called Tiny Meat Gang, and that's seeming a little more truthful as the days go on, and I'm not sure which one he would prefer to have come out instead of both of them. Which one? It's important to see how Cody has responded to this, and we'll show that, but it is notable that quite a few other things were said in the podcast around the situation, which really does add context.
And it's just a classic case of I say something fleeting
in
the ways that I say something, and then it is taken very seriously because I'm usually trauma dumping and breadcrumbing with a giggle.
Yeah, and
right?
It usually is pretty serious, and we're just so flippant about it, and we'll just like talk some shit.
And that's always how I've just dealt with shit or made light of shit. I'm just the type of person.
That shows that obviously Tana was doing it in the offhand way, laughing about it, because it is something that it's a way that people deal with trauma. And a lot of people do. I do the exact same at points. Because also there has been a massive, massive amount of people that have been lambasting Tana because it is Tana Mojo that is saying this at the end of the day. She has had a lot of dramas and controversies over her for years at this point. I mean, does anyone remember TanaCon? As well as some much more serious accusations, but it is really worth noting that just because it's Tana Mojo, it doesn't mean that it's not truthful. These are allegations at the end of the day, but let's look at them with at least a bit of respect.
To be 100% truthful, when I look back at the Cody situation, I definitely am like, why was he doing that? You know what I mean? And there were so many situations. There was a situation with Gabbie Hanna at a Playlist Live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17. And then we still went and hooked up. And I can look at that and be like,
what
why the f- are you doing that?
And that's a really good point in it. Well, just because you're a famous guy, it doesn't mean you think you can take your liberties when they come. If these are truthful allegations, and as I say, Tana Mojo's career is on the line about that, let's make that clear, she's definitely not at fault for any sort of situation that happened. So all of the backlash on her is ridiculous because she was a 17-year-old lass who was getting with a 25-year-old man. That's not on the woman, that's bride and grooming. I will also note the Gabbie Hanna stuff. Gabbie Hanna has been mentioned quite a few times in this situation, and it's because she has actually come out before and said it, and Tana was really annoyed at her at this point for coming out and saying it, but it has been something that's not only been in the backgrounds of all the LA influencers, all of the YouTubers that are in America, but also Gabbie Hanna, she threw it out there years ago on a very hidden old podcast clip.
One time, I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know, I know she like looks a little older, she's underage, watch it. And he's like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he turned that.
Obviously naming no names in that situation with Gabbie Hanna, but it links up perfectly, and not only that, it has been said that Gabbie Hanna was at that party when that happened, so you put two and two together, you get four, don't you?
I have seen so many comments of people like on some like, but what was she wearing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On some like, well, it's Tana Mojo. And
Yeah,
like, isn't that crazy?
It's so
like,
fucked up.
Because I really like, you know how I feel towards it, but now seeing all of these people like not believe me and say, well, what if she's lying or she's this and she's that and she's dramatic? First of all, there's nothing, I would never lie about that. Like, I'm not going to put an allegation on anyone. Like,
and this is kind of the crux of it, innit? Well, Tana is not going to come out and say this sort of very serious allegations about people because I don't believe that she ever has. But also with Cody Co's size and status, he would be able to sue her into the ground if it was incorrect. And then also the fact that, well, Cody Co could get her cancelled, full stop. For like, she would be off the platform, she'd be gone. She's putting her fancy lifestyle, all of her friends' lifestyles at risk by saying this stuff. I cannot stress how serious these allegations are, and there has been multiple instances of this from YouTubers over the past, but the difference here is that it's a YouTuber to a YouTuber. It is a massive YouTuber to another massive YouTuber. They both have reputations, they both have their own thing, and then also Cody Co is a commentary channel which comments on topics. Have a laugh, give you bits, give you insight, and you present this character to themselves, and then it just all gets shattered with this sort of thing coming out. I think Tana will have really looked after herself, really thought about this situation, and then also probably got some lawyer sort of talks about it as well, just so that she was in the position to be able to come out and talk about it freely. And the big problem is as well with Cody Ko is that Cody Ko is a massively loved creator. He is a genuinely incredibly large commentary channel. He's one of the biggest commentary channels, full stop, on YouTube. His fans adore him, his fans love him, and they're gonna look at someone like Tana Mojo, who, like I said, has a quite dodgy past with some of the stuff that she's done, and they're gonna try and wipe it off the face of the earth because they don't believe her. But this is something that is so serious that it definitely needs to be at least given an ounce of believability to it. And like I said, when you see the reaction of Cody Ko and also the other stuff that's going on, it doesn't look good for him. And this is something that is picked up by Tana herself on the podcast.
Like, feel so sorry for any real victims of people that are really loved by people, because it's
they still get, at the end of the day, they get their platform. He's gonna be just fine. He's posted up in a fucking mansion.
Well, and just
his life
even
is gonna
just
go on.
in my day-to-day life, like, it's like I know for a fact if you swapped out Cody Ko with someone that like people didn't like that much,
oh my
I
God,
would be receiving so much more sympathy versus like the amount of people in this industry who like want to protect him and are like talking to me in a way where it's like they, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or even just friends like, but I love him. Like,
and that's the problem, because he's so loved, it's going to be a lot harder for them to shatter some sort of issue like this because it's so circumstantial. There is no evidence or proof to be able to bring to it apart from Tana's own words. And like we say, Tana's own words don't really work very well sometimes in some situations. From what I've heard and also what I've seen, it does seem to me like this is something that has been protected somewhat. It's been hidden behind the backgrounds. It's been something that Tana has said to multiple people in the past, but it's kind of been brushed under. And according to Tana herself, as she said, a lot of people want to protect him, and because he's such a loved character, that really does make sense in the aspect of YouTube. I've seen this happen a lot with quite a few creators. But what a lot of people and a lot of fans do of YouTubers is they will create this idealistic sense of who they expect that person to be in their own mind, and they can't take out the fact that if anything like this gets thrown at their door, that they can judge them anything other than what they think that they are. I think you'll find a lot of YouTubers are not like what you think. Understand that Tana's not just going to do this off the whim as a bit of a bit or a joke. It's something that is very serious, and he's being laughed off really by quite a lot of people, and a lot of people have been giving her a lot of hate for no reason at all for coming out with her story. This lack of care and attention only pushes people off of ever coming out with their own situations that they've gone through in their life, and really it is a self-protecting thing towards men. And as I said, in response to these allegations, Cody has really been weird here, and if anything, he's being complicit in the actions. This is something that has been knocking at his door for years, and now it's fully knocked, it's fully exposed, it's fully out there. For the past 3 weeks, he's done absolutely nothing about it, and if anything, it really seems like he's trying to censor and direct the conversation. Do note that silence is never always a bad thing that happens in these sort of situations around these serious allegations. One example that I will give is with Quite, when he had allegations thrown at his doorstep. He stayed silent for a while, and then he came out with a video that totally dismantled everything around him. But censorship is a totally different kettle of fish, because that really does make you seem like you're trying to hide it, trying to jump over it, and just forget that it ever happened. On Cody's main channel, he has not uploaded in 3 weeks, which is a little bit different to his twice-a-month schedule. I really don't understand why he's got 2 channels, by the way. He does the exact same content in both of them, so I don't get it. But on his second channel, he has been uploading practically daily at this point over the past couple of weeks, and then before then, he was doing it every other day or so. So he's been uploading loads at the time. And I beg you to do the same as me, because I've been going through and checking quite a few of these videos, and there is not a single negative comment around the allegations on any of his videos. If you scroll scroll and have a look through his videos, I'm finding the odd thing about accountability. For example, take accountability for your actions, which happened very recently. But the comments are really, up until maybe the past 12 hours, seeming to be very, very washed and, you know, scrubbed clean. And that really irks me the wrong way. Especially when you see on his Instagram, like, this is probably definitely the last paid partnership that he's going to be having for a while. His comments on Instagram are filled with loads of people saying to take accountability for your actions. This led a lot of people as well, when looking into this situation, to try and comment their anger, to actually take it out on his wife in his wife's channel, which is Kelsey's, which honestly is a shame for her, because she has nothing to do with this situation apart from being around him at the time, which is now. But also, she is technically now an influencer. She has this responsibility on her chest, and she has a husband that has done something like this, and they are being totally silent about it on every single platform possible. It stinks, and it's definitely something, considering the size of Tana Mojo and her platform, it's something that if he is not in the wrong for and he hasn't done, surely you would just come out and totally dissipate it at its front before it gets any worse than what it was gonna be. Tana said in the past that they got together and he was 25 and she was 18, which is still a little bit odd, but 17, illegal. It needs to go down them avenues. It really does. And it is just insane to me, this entire situation. The only reason that I can think someone like this would not respond is genuinely because there is at least a crumb of truth towards the allegations. And the problem is that you've got people like Hanna coming out and saying that she has seen this already at a house party. There's witnesses. People have seen, maybe not the further actions, but people have seen the start of the actions happening. He's such a loved and cared for creator, it totally shatters the perception of what he is as a person, and it really seems odd. And as well, he's a frat guy, remember? He is a frat guy, so they are all a little bit weird. I did also notice with this video, which I genuinely can't believe this title got away with it, YouTube has changed over time. There's a couple of bits in it that kind of do really add credence to her claims, just a tiny bit. Remember, this old video is around the time that apparently they did end up hooking up, so this really does seem like it. It does.
Check me out on YouTube. Alright, so Alright, so what's up, guys? It's Tana Mojo. A response video.
I think it might be your turn for the response video, Cody. But yeah, obviously he's having a bit of a stare at her backside, and if you look at the video on here, it was uploaded on May the 13th, 2016. So if you do some backwards math, Tana would have been 17. And I don't think YouTube would be that backwards that they would see Cody Co at the time staring at the arse of a 17-year-old girl when it's 18 that is the legal age in the US. And think, oh, that's totally normal. He's only 25. It's just a bit weird, and the entire situation's weird. And also, I really think that the American sort of LA lifestyle of some of these YouTubers is also very, very weird. But then I also spotted a little bit of an innuendo, which hasn't been picked up by many people, but it really does seem timely considering what she said in the previous TikTok.
Right into their hearts.
Yeah.
No, I'm just like, I can barely see myself. I'm like really small, I'm like really small, I'm like really small, I'm like really small. But I'm still so like compelled by myself on that screen.
I wonder why Tana in that video emphasized that it's very small, it's very small, it's very small, when he potentially has the smallest willy that she's ever seen. To me, honestly, that seems more like an inside joke than it is a sexual innuendo. Well, obviously it's both, but I didn't think that that's an offhand comment. That seems very like planted as like an inside joke, and that adds just a little bit of icing to the cake of the stuff that Tana is saying. I will also mention there is a clip around this situation with Brooke, the co-host of Tana's podcast, saying that she didn't really want this to come out to public.
A couple days before, Tana and I had sat down to talk about it separately, just her and I, and the way that the conversation happened was just like neither of us thought that should come out, just because, I don't know, I feel like both of us, like, naturally our trauma response is to kind of like make things lighthearted and like kind of make a joke out of things and act like they're not that big of a deal, and that's what was happening. And then watching it back, we were like, wait, like, I don't know. So I knew Tana wanted to think harder about what she said, and I trust her always to say the right thing, especially when it comes to her own personal traumas.
just adding to the idea that Tana really has fought long and hard about this situation, and as we say, these are all allegations at this point, but it doesn't mean that they shouldn't be taken with at least a crumb of truth at the time. Especially considering how protective it seems that Cody has been around this. And also with who he has around him. Because there is another thing that is going on at the moment around Cody which kind of highlights his persona in a very different light. And this is around someone called Colby. Colby is one of Cody's old frat housemates, which is the worst, cringiest thing I could ever say. Because they were in a frat called Delta Sigma 5, which is just so cringe. But the drama has all come from this picture here of him being held by Cody at his wedding. Cody had him at his wedding. It was a lovely time for him, I presume. And you might be wondering then, why is this getting talked about? Well, it's because this Cody has been involved in a very, very serious allegation in the past, which went to court. But it didn't go to court in a criminal manner, it went in a civil manner, as a lawsuit. Colby has been around in Cody's videos before, he's very close to him, obviously, as he's got him at his wedding. It's someone that he hangs around with quite frequently, which, when you add this into it, it really muddies the waters and makes you think, why is he doing that? Because the legal case within this that did end up getting dismissed is actually harrowing, saying that a woman attended Duke University at the fall of 2010, and according to her evidence, Colby Leachman, who is Cody's friend, gave this unfortunate woman some pills and then R-worded her. He then invited one of his friends to go and do the same thing to her. And not only that, a video was apparently filmed of the situation, which was then shared to a couple of people around the fraternity. This case was dropped as a lawsuit because of lack of evidence, and I've heard there's some very weird things around the actual judge that dismissed the case at this point. My question to this would also be, why has Colby not gone and sued her, countersued her, because she's brought out this disingenuous stuff around him? It really does stink, and it seems like it's very true. People that do this are the worst kind of people in the world. They are disgusting, vile human beings, and to even be suggested that you have done something like this in a court of law really shows that you aren't the person that you think everyone thinks you are. He's had these thrown against him, they ended up getting dropped, and Cody is still hanging around with this guy to the point of being really good friends, to the point of him being at his wedding. This is then also backed up with the statement from the judge. Although the case accusing Duke of mishandling the aftermath was dropped, the judge said that reasonable people might well think that serious consequences would have been appropriate for the two accused students, who even under their own version of facts behaved horribly to the lady in question and at least one other woman. And the judge saying that kind of does seal the deal a little bit, doesn't it really? It really gives credence to the fact that that is real. But obviously, Cody is going to be getting a lot of stuff thrown at him, and he has done, because you are hanging around with someone who has this kind of tag onto them. It's really bad, and it does shatter the illusion of what some people believe that he is like. And if you couple it with these current accusations that are going on, it really does paint a terrible picture of someone who not only hangs around with people who are like that, but also is a deviant himself. Very simple for me to say that I would not allow, and I don't allow, people who act in any sort of way like that around my close circles, and I would hope that a lot of people don't too. Quite simple math in it really. If you find out that someone's that kind of person, they get totally eliminated from your friendship group, but it seems that he's managed to stay there, and it asks questions of, well, what is Cody actually like when you couple it with the allegations from Tana Mojo. The silence from Cody is absolutely harrowing. I find it very weird that he is totally ignoring absolutely everything, but at this point he's still uploading daily on his second channel, maybe in some sort of attempt to try and get what money he can before he has to come out and say this, because that means that he's finished, if it is true. But it is tactical, and there is a tactical reason why he is refusing to even speak about these allegations in any sort of sense anywhere. Because not only that, by every single day that goes on, he is being complicit with this sort of problem that goes on with women. I'm sure a lot of people that follow him will not agree or want to be around someone or watch someone who has done a statutory R charge, especially after being told of their age supposedly before they actually went and did it at the age of 25. You have to think of the experiential nature of, what were you like when you were 17? Were you anywhere close to being near a 25-year-old's experience? I don't think you were. And to me, whether true or not, there is multiple witnesses of him at least getting off with Tana Mojo, so I find it very odd myself, considering the age gap. I find it very weird. I don't like it. And Cody realistically just needs to come out and he needs to talk about it, but it might be a very, very tough conversation, not only for him, but for all of the fans that watch him. We could just hope for some kind of closure on this because, like I said, the silence is deafening. But I've been Jake Baz. I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like and sub. I would love to see you back, and I will see you later. Take care.